Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here, and today we got another Washington football team weekly stream, and Juan is going to come on here in a couple minutes. We're having some technical difficulties, but he should be on here pretty soon, and yeah, should be pretty fun. Today we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, mainly, obviously, the off season, because that's, the time we're in. We're going to be talking about the name change that's coming up in a few days. I mean, it's crazy to say, but we're finally gonna have that done with, and we're finally gonna get the name, whether we like it or not. It's gonna be over, and we're on to the future of this team. And then after that, we'll talk about free agency. Quarterbacks that Washington could trade for, and some of the draft as well. And we'll get into our playoff picks for the week. Appreciate everyone for coming in the chat. What's up, King Sean, Antonio Brown? Let's see. Retro Rampage, Eli, Brown, Retro. Appreciate all you guys for coming in, Daquavis, Billy, and Philip B. So, yeah, should be a pretty fun one. So, let's get in first, name change talk a little bit while we wait for some people to get in the chat. So, what do you guys think the name will be? And what do you think you want? Or what do you want the name to be? So, for me, I'm thinking it's going to be Commanders. I think it's going to be Commanders. I'm not like fully sure because I do think there is a lot of misdirection being thrown around, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's totally, something totally random we haven't thought about because, I mean, that's what a lot of these names have been. I mean, you look at like Seattle, the hockey team for NHL. Their name totally random, Seattle Kraken. I thought they did a great job with their name rollout. So everyone thinks it's going to be Commanders. And one thing though, like we saw that leak on Twitter where like whatever they register the domain for Commanders, but it came out and that is like that doesn't mean that we're going to be the Commanders because other teams, there's like 6 or 7 teams that don't use that specific domain. Yeah, I mean, I Wolves would be my preferred choice. Washington Wolves would be my number one, and then after that, I really don't care. As long as it's nothing bad like Belters or Freedom. If it's not that, I'm fine. But if it's one of those two, it's gonna take me a long time to adjust. And yeah, it's gonna be tough. What's up, Rashad? What's up, Pow? What's up, Tyler C? Fight for Old DC. Appreciate all of you guys for coming through. So I mean, it's gonna be a busy next couple of weeks for the Washington football team because obviously in a few days we're gonna have the new name, and then 2 days after that, I believe, is when the senior, or maybe a few days after that, is the first Senior Bowl game, and I think the Senior Bowl kind of week starts next week. So that's going to be a very important process for the Washington football team. I'm excited, for the Senior Bowl to see these young quarterbacks. I mean, there's going to be 4 of the top 5 quarterbacks are going to be there. You're going to have Kenny Pickett there, Malik Willis, Sam Howell, and Desmond Ritter as well. And there's Selby as well. So there's going to be a lot of guys to look for there, and there's going to be other players at other important positions. I mean, you look at Terry McLaurin; he was a Senior Bowl pick, and I'm trying to remember who else from Washington. Someone recently was a Senior Bowl pick. So yeah, there's some really good QBs there. I mean, it's not often that you know 4 of the top 5 quarterbacks are at the Senior Bowl. I mean, that might be saying a little bit of this quarterback class, but nonetheless, I'm really, really excited to watch this Senior Bowl to see how these, because we're going to get a direct comparison. We're going to see how Desmond Ritter looks compared to Malik Willis, to Sam Howell, to Kenny Pickett. I mean, that is exciting to me, and it'll give these guys a chance to play with the same players, with the same coaches. It's going to be a level playing field, and you're going to see who stands out. And currently, I like Pickett. He's my number one QB right now. And then after that, I'm not really interested in too many guys. Malik Willis does intrigue me because of his potential. You want, obviously, an elite quarterback in this league. You want them. But he has the lowest floor as well. So I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Pat Williams says Kyle Allen, where does he fit? See him back. I mean, I think at this point probably not. But if we do just if we sign like a big name quarterback, then I could see Kyle Allen and Taylor Heineke being the backups. But I do think there's a good chance that they bring in 2 new QBs, maybe a veteran and then a rookie as well. Philip B, appreciate the $10 donations. He said, "Did you hear about the alumni from the glory days? We're told about the finalists and hated all of them." Yes, I saw that. I think it was Charles Mann. They gave him and a few of the other alumni a list of finalists. I think 3 finalists, and they didn't like it at all. Later, once Juan comes on here, I will pull up the quote when I have time. But yeah, he said that he didn't like it at all, and that leads me to believe I do not think it's going to be Hogs or Red Hogs, because I mean you would think Charles Mann, a player who is playing on a team with the Hogs, would like that name, and the other alumni would also like that name. So I don't think that'll be the name. I don't think. I mean, Washington Wolves won't be the name, and then Warriors has also been eliminated. So it looks like it's going to be Commanders, but don't rule out something totally random. But it's not encouraging, really, that our alumni didn't like them at all. But I think eventually we will. I think eventually we will get used to the name. I mean, you look at a bunch of the names across the league; they're just basic names. Some of them are just bad, but eventually people get used to it. I mean, you look at the Capitals, you look at the Nationals. I mean, those aren't great names. They're basic names, but at this point, I don't even think about it. It's just the name of the team. So I think eventually that's how it'll be with the Washington football team, or whatever, Washington Commanders, whatever name they come up with. Appreciate that, Philip B. King Sean says, if our name most likely will be the Commanders, what would be a possible nickname? That I don't know. Washington Commies, I don't like that. I don't know if there would be one. Maybe they'll put one out. I don't know. I don't think that's the thing. You would think they would pick a name with, a a little nickname you could do, like Skins. I mean, you look at teams across the league, a lot of them have, nicknames, short not abbreviations, but you know what I mean? Like the Dolphins are the Fins, Patriots, the Pats, Bills. I mean, Bills are already very short, so you can't really do anything about that. Same thing with the Jets. But a lot of these teams with long names usually have a little bit of a nickname. And Commanders, I don't think they would have one. So that is definitely something to consider. And I got my guy Juan in here. Let me put him in this. How you?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. What's going on? Appreciate you.
Nothing much, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me, man. My bad. I was trying to get the link.
Nah, you're good. Yeah, I didn't send it. That's my bad. So what I mean, we've been talking about the name for a while, and it's like I think you're on the same page, finally happy to get it over with. Because then like I know you don't use Twitter that much, but
Yeah.
I hate on Twitter, these guys that say, "Oh, my friend's sister's cousin works at Nike. They said it's this," or all these stuff it's all fake. I'm not believing any of it until a guy with a verified account, puts something out, like someone like John Kime, JP Finley. Then I'll believe it. But until then, I really don't believe any of these leaks. Yes, I think Commanders is likely, but it's not a sure thing. So I asked this question in the chat earlier. So Juan, what do you think the name will be, and what do you want it to be?
First shout out to everybody in here. Sam, what's up, y'all? King Sean, Rashad, Billy, what's going on, everybody? Honestly, I don't really care what it is. I don't know. Like, I really don't know what I want it to be, because I don't care that much. Like, I'm gonna be a fan regardless. But what I think it was gonna be, I guess Commanders, just because it got leaked pretty much. But again, who knows if that's even true? That didn't come from a verified source, so maybe it can't be Commanders. But I think that may be it. Just because again, like that's seeming like the thing that's got leaked and that got everyone talking, and that's the thing that was leaked in the Making the Brand video. And if this is the case, they botched this real bad. They did. This is the most Washington thing ever, because I mean, I already said in my video, I knew they weren't going to be able to hide this for a month, like without people knowing. But to have it botched a month ago and leaked a month ago, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then I would have to start questioning Jason Wright, because that is the reason why you brought him here, was for things like this, to change the culture as far as the as far as the off the field goes. And it's like the same thing. So if it's Commanders, I'm just gonna be like, they botched it, bro, straight up. And I'm doing a live stream the next day to call in, with people that want to come in and call in and get their reaction of the name. And I think that may turn into a whole debate about Jason Wright if this name is
Yeah.
Commanders, because
What I'll say though, I think maybe it was a botch, and if it is Commanders, maybe it was a botch. But I saw someone pointed out on Twitter, maybe it was, I don't know if I believe it, but he was saying there's a possibility that they leaked it out on purpose, so that because they don't want the fans to be totally like blindsided, like, oh, February 2nd comes out and it's Commanders, because like you said, the logo, we'll see if it's the logo or the name of the team, the Commanders, was leaked a few weeks ago on Jason Wright's, on the paper that was sitting on his lap, and that got fans like, oh, it's Commanders, I hate it, and it got fans used to it for like 3 weeks straight. So it'll ease it in if that is the name. I saw that as a theory. I think that's a good point. Nonetheless, though, hopefully it's an okay name. I'm with you. I think I don't care about most of them. There's like one or two I really like and a few I really don't like, but everything else, I think it's gonna be fine eventually. Like you get used to it. I mean, the Nationals and Capitals, they're not good names, but eventually, like, I don't even think about it. They're basic names. But like now, when I say Nationals, when I say Capitals, I don't even think about the name. They're just a team that I root for. I think it's different with Redskins, but with whatever team now or name we're gonna have now, I think eventually we'll get used to it. But as long as it's not something like a Washington Belters or the Washington Freedom, because those to me are absolute garbage. Like Commanders, I mean, honestly, I don't see, like, I don't get the like huge hate for Commanders. Like, I don't love it, but I mean, it's all right to me. Like, it's just a basic name. I mean, do you hate it, or are you with me? It's like, okay.
Shout out to I want to say Powell Williams. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But shout out to you, man. What's going on? No, I don't hate none of the names, because like you just said, it's gonna be weird, whatever it is when we first hear, but eventually it's gonna grow on us. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna grow on us, just how football team grew on me. At first, I was like, football team, really? But as we, started to get used to it, it kind of grew on me, and that's what it's gonna be with this. And you know what I'm saying? Again, I don't care what the name is, because the players are still gonna be out there. Terry, Chase, all the same. The team is literally the same, just the name. If there was a different name and different players, then we would have a problem. But it literally doesn't matter, like it's just a new name, and everyone's still gonna call them our old name. So I mean, no, I don't really hate it. It is gonna be weird, but that's with any name we pick.
Yeah, it's gonna be really weird. I mean, especially for us, like we went from Redskins to like putting that in our titles for videos every day, and then Washington football team. It's gonna be weird typing that in Washington, what Commanders signed, blah blah blah. And speaking of signing, we did sign. It's not a big deal at all, but we did sign David Mayo to a contract extension. It is what it is. That's just like a housekeeping thing. We'll say that before we get into the rest of the stream, but we signed David Mayo to a contract extension. Not a big deal at all. I mean, I see fans on Twitter going like, these fans on Twitter, man. Like I legit saw fans like, man, Ron Rivera, like, why are you signing David Mayo? You should Ron Rivera should get fired for this. I'm like, bro, this guy. There's gonna be 90 players on the roster going into training camp, and David Mayo is a special teamer and a backup at best. He's not gonna be a starter. At the very best, he's going to be a backup middle linebacker, and he's going to compete for a roster spot. And he's an okay special teamer. He's a veteran. If he's the last linebacker on this team, I'm fine with that. I mean, you need guys like, Jared Norris, Jordan Kay. Like, you need, one or two special teamers at that linebacker position. So, I'm fine with it. Obviously, no one wants him starting. No one wants him starting. Even as a backup, I'd rather have someone else. But at the end of the day, it's all right. You got any thoughts on that, or do you want to move on?
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, David Mayo not a huge signing. Like it doesn't make a big deal. I don't know why people, and I didn't see it, but I don't know why people were making a big deal out of it. It's just David Mayo. I mean, it's core special teamer, and I think a lot of people need to stop taking special teams for granted. You know, that's a big part in this game. Just look at the Packers game last week. So yeah, it's okay. Now I don't want him starting, or I don't want him to see. I honestly don't want him to see the field at all as a linebacker. I mean, him getting snaps over Jamin Davis down the stretch of the season where the season pretty much was over, which is crazy. So I don't want to see him playing as a linebacker. But again, it's no harm to me. It's no harm at all to have a good special teams guy because, like you said, you need three of these guys, and we have David Mayo, Jordan Kuznick, and Jared Norris. So yeah, I'm fine with it. Honestly, it's no big deal to me.
Yeah, I totally agree. Two of those guys, at least one of those three, they're gonna make the roster. It is what it is. And it's a like I saw. I mean, there's always these fans, but I saw someone like, why is David Mayo getting a contract extension but not Terry? I mean, I wish we could get one done, but it's much easier to extend David Mayo when we
Yeah.
can offer him a minimum deal and he'll accept it. But let's see, what's up, Brian? Appreciate you coming through. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of snow on the East Coast. I mean, we're here in Northern Virginia, not getting too much, but I know up there, in Boston, up there, it's gonna get a lot of snow. So hope you stay safe there.
Yeah.
But now on to our free agents. Let's talk about. We're gonna talk about free agency in general, but Pal gave a good idea. Let's go over our own free agents that we want to resign because very likely there's going to be a few players, and we're already seeing it with small signings, but David Mayo, Jordan Kay, and then a little bit of bigger signing in Charles Leno. Our free agents, we're starting to re-sign them. So, what guys do you want to re-sign for the Washington football team?
Let me see here. Let me give me a second. I
I
want.
think
I
I'll go
want.
for a few names, and then you look at the
Yeah,
list.
I was just gonna pull up the list of our free agents just so I could see so I can just like cross out the ones that are already signed and to see who is remaining. Let me see here.
Yeah, McKissick. I think we both agree we
Yeah,
want to re-sign
Tyler
him.
Lar. Yeah, I got it right here now. I can go. So first it's Brandon Sheriff. No, want him to walk. He
I
can walk.
agree.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is a free agent. I don't. Yeah, he's a free agent. I don't want him back. John Bostic. Honestly, I was like, I would like him here if he is going to be a backup. Like if John
Yeah,
Bostic plays like 15, 20 snaps a game, I'm cool with that. But
even
when he,
less.
but when he's playing every single snap of the game like he did in 2020, that is a problem. So only way I want John Bostic back is if he is going to be a veteran backup leader. But if they plan on having him be a starter, don't resign this guy. Cam Sims. Yeah, I want Cam Sims back. I really think when we get a quarterback, man, besides obviously Terry being better than what he already is, I think Cam Sims is the guy that's going to benefit the most from having a true quarterback. I really think Cam Sims is going to be ready to break out, man. That's why I'm praying that I would love to have a young guy, but I really hope we try to, find a way to trade for one of these, big guys up there, which is highly unlikely. But I really think Cam Sims is a guy that if we get a good quarterback, man, he could really break out. So yeah, I want Cam Sims back. Cornelius Lucas, let's see. Yeah, that's good depth to be honest. But Luke could want to go start somewhere else, honestly. Because he could very well start somewhere else. So it depends on if he would even want to come back to be a backup behind Charles Leno and Samuel Cosme. So it depends. But I would love to have him back. But again, he could go play somewhere else and be a starter. J.D. McKissick, obviously, we know he's a no-brainer. I want him back because when we have J.D. McKissick, that's why it was kind of, that's why I'm not saying I was glad he got hurt because obviously we suffered from that, but I'm glad he got hurt to the point where fans understood how much he was important to our offense. Like I really think people took for granted how important J.D. McKissick was to our offense. So again, like I'm not happy he got hurt, but fans were able to finally see that he is a big part of this offense. So obviously, J.D. McKissic being back is a no-brainer. We need him here. Daryl Roberts, no, he can walk. Bobby McCain, I was on the fence about it a couple weeks ago. I think I made a video about this, and I believe I said I would have my Bobby McCain back, I believe. But again, I would have Bobby McCain back only if they make another move at the free safety position. Like, I don't want Bobby McCain to be our starting free safety. He did play better down the stretch of the season, but I just want that ball hawk free safety, and Bobby McCain doesn't get that for me. Adam Humphries, this is tricky, man, because you have Dax, who they were grooming to be the next Adam Humphries. Nah, I think Adam Humphries is going to go somewhere else. I really do. It's not that I don't want him back here, but I think he's just going to end up going somewhere else. We're not going to re-sign him. Tyler Larson, that's another no-brainer in my opinion. The guy was so good backing up Chase Roulier until he got hurt, obviously. So Tyler Larson's another no-brainer. He's in that category with J.D. McKissic. Danny Johnson, no. I mean, he's okay.
Yeah,
he was good. Huh?
No, there's a bunch of guys in that like Danny Johnson category at like the bottom of the list where it's like, I'm fine if they want to bring him into camp. At the end of the day, though, it's all right? Like Danny Johnson,
yeah.
Apke. I mean, I don't really want him, but at the end of the day, whatever. There's a few other guys like that. I agree with most of your guys. Any other like big names that we forgot?
Well, I'm reading off the whole list. I could actually, when you go, if you want me to, or you can pull it up. I was going to share the screen, and you could just scroll while you pick, unless you know all of them off the top of your head. I just don't know everyone.
You can put that on there.
Let's see. But yeah, I agree. Danny Johnson, he was actually really good in the slot. I really liked him because he could tackle, man. He was showing these guys how to tackle, really. And so I'm with you. If they want to bring him back, we can definitely do that. But if they like, we don't want Dane Johnson back, then I'm not going to, obviously not gonna lose sleep over it. And Ricky Seals Jones. This is another tricky one. Can you see it, Pedro? Or
yeah.
Okay. Ricky Seals Jones is another tricky one because again he was really solid, but he was hurt. But again, I really think if Logan Thomas comes back better off the ACL and I believe PCL injury, him and Ricky Seals Jones could be a really good duo because Ricky Seals Jones is more of that receiver type. Logan Thomas is obviously an all-around tight end, and while we're still grooming Sammy's Reyes. So yeah, I would love to have Ricky Seals Jones back, but again, this is another guy that if they don't bring back, I'm not going to lose sleep over. Jared Norris, core special teamer, he needs to be back. Obviously, Torrey McTyer is another guy that I'm intrigued with. I was so hurt that he got hurt in week 4. I was so hurt that he got hurt in week 4, but I was like, man, I was really intrigued to see what he got because when I went to the open practice, I was like, who is this 35 guy? He was making plays all at the open practice, and he had himself a good preseason, and I really was intrigued to see what he could do for us. Now, obviously, it may have ultimately not been nothing. He could have just been a back end guy, but again, you never know. He could have really turned that preseason, play into regular season play and made himself a name. DeAndre Carter, we know we already are going to. Did we? No, am I tripping? Why do I have a feeling we re-signed DeAndre Carter for some reason?
Who?
No, DeAndre Carter. I don't know why I had that.
We didn't, not yet.
I don't know why I thought we did. That's why I kind of paused. But DeAndre Carter, another guy. Oh no, that's what it is. They were in contract talks.
Yeah.
They didn't sign him yet. That's what I got mixed up. DeAndre Carter, another guy that I want back. Obviously, he's going to be back. He provides so much for this offense as a receiver and as a kick returner, punt returner, corn elder. No, he can go. All these other guys can go. Kyle Allen, maybe he can stay depending on what we do at the quarterback position. I think we should keep Kyle Allen because whoever we bring in to start, whether it's a rookie or a trade that we make, Kyle Allen and Taylor Heineke are two guys that already know your system like this. So what better to have two backups in the league, that already know your system. So I think we should bring back Kyle Allen. Joey Slye, obviously, guy was money down the stretch of the season. Troy Apke, yes, he needs to come back because as much as he is terrible as a cornerback safety, he is a core special teamer, one of the best gunners in all of football. And all the rest of these guys, besides Tim Settle and Jordan Kay, could really just go. But Jordan Kay, another special teamer that possibly be back. He'll be back on the
I
list
think they
landing.
already signed to an extension.
Jordan K. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He's back. Obviously, then if Pedro said that, and Tim Settle is another guy that I would love to have back, but I truly think he's gonna go and get starter money elsewhere. But yeah, that's me, and that's where I stand with our free agents. And now, Pedro, let me know when you want me to scroll down.
Yeah, I got them in my head now, so
Okay,
I got it. But appreciate that. One Life
yeah,
Music, appreciate the $5 donation. Says we need a linebacker in free agency. Also, a salute touchdown celebration would be elite. And yeah, I mean, I think whatever name they get, they can incorporate a celebration. Yeah, salute would be nice. And we'll see if they get a new song in there, but it's not going to be the same, of course. And yeah, we need a linebacker for sure, specifically a middle linebacker because Jamin's outside. Holcomb's outside linebacker. If Landon Collins comes back, he's an outside guy as well. So, yeah, need to bring in a middle linebacker. There's some options. Leighton Vander Esch, Devondre Campbell, whatever the guy's name from the Falcons. I never can pronounce his name. There's a few others as well. I definitely agree with you. Need to get a veteran, I think, a veteran linebacker in there because you bring in a rookie, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of confusion on in the linebacker room because Jamin Davis is basically kind of a rookie because this past season, I mean, he only started actually 1 year in college. So this year wasn't really even his rookie year because he's just so raw. But yeah, appreciate the donation, and I totally agree. So with the free agents, I agree with you on most of them. McKissick is a must bring back, I believe. As long as you can bring, unless it's unreasonable deal, bring him back. I think Bob McCain isn't a must-have back, but I want him back. If we can get him for a reasonable deal, if he's asking for too much, then that's where like you can definitely find good, good free or average free safeties on the free agent market and in the draft. I think Joey Sly is a must bring back. Do what you can to bring him back. And then Brandon Scherff, I would let walk. I saw someone say how good of a run blocker he is. He is, but he also isn't available. And I don't want to pay him 19 mil a year. I do not want to pay him 19 mil a year, whatever it's going to be for a guard that plays 11 games a season. And he's good. He's even great, but he's not elite in my opinion. He's not. He might be. He's in that second tier. He's not in the Quentin Nelson, in the Zach Martin category. But it is what it is. And then Tim Settle, I really like him. But with the current defensive line we have right now, if we bring back the guys we have, you can't have Tim Settle on the roster. It just does not make sense for both parties. Why would Tim Settle come back here when he's the fourth interior defensive lineman in the rotation? Honestly, I think he was like fifth or sixth because Rotimi and these guys were getting playing time over him this year, and it was like, come on, man. So I mean, it does not make sense for Tim Settle to come back at all. I'm saying like in terms of Tim Settle, why would he want to come back? Unless we trade one of our guys like Deron Payne, something like that, then that's a possibility. Let him get his bag somewhere else. And then let's see. I'm trying to think of the others. There's a bunch of guys like I want Torrey McTyer back. He's a great depth piece. He's got some potential. Let's see. Oh, and I wanted to talk about this. Someone brought it up, and I saw it on Twitter. So the Colts are interviewing Chris Harris, our defensive backs coach, for their defensive coordinator position. So, I mean, that's interesting right there. We'll see if he gets that job. If he does, we're gonna need to, replace him with another DB coach. I'm trying to see if anything else comes out about it. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens there. Chris Harris, I think he's done a decent job with the DBs, but not the end of the world if he leaves. I hope we get rid of Sam Mills, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I really don't.
yeah.
Unfortunately, let's see other guys. I would, Ricky Seals Jones. You could get him for cheap. I would bring him back. Cam Sims. I like Cam Sims. I think you should bring him back as a rotational receiver. I agree with you. I agree with you that I think Adam Humphries is gonna leave just because he's probably want to go to a team that's in somewhat contention and that has a veteran quarterback. That is my opinion right there on Adam Humphries. But yeah, agree with One Life Music. Got to keep Cam Sims. He's a good rotational receiver for you. And Adam Humphries is okay. Same thing with Ricky Seals-Jones and Cornelius Lucas. I'm okay if they bring him back because he's he's okay depth for you. But there's other guys you could go after. And let's see. I'm trying to think. Am I missing anyone else? One. I think I got most of them.
Well, probably the most important ones, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the minor guys, it is what it is. If you can get them for cheap, go ahead and do it. If you can't, then let someone else get them. So, Juan, what are your top four needs for the Washington football team? What are the four biggest holes?
For me, hold on, let me see it's on my camera here. All right, so for me personally, obviously we know number one is quarterback. That's obvious. Number two, honestly, I think free safety leapfrog linebacker. I really did because we addressed the linebacker this past draft. Obviously, Jamie Davis growing pains this season, not the best rookie year, but he's developing, and I still trust Jamie Davis to develop into a good linebacker. So we kind of addressed that, and I think free safety leapfrog that. Number three probably would be then linebacker because it's still a hole that we need middle linebacker to be exact. Even though I did feel like Holcomb could play middle linebacker, they obviously don't think that. So obviously middle linebacker is still a hole that we need to address. And I think number four, honestly, that's a tough one. I was wide receiver. I don't know. It's tricky though because we have obviously Terry, bona fide number one. Curtis' first season was a wash, so we still don't know what we have in him, but hoping for big things for him. And then Bradami Brown still growing, still learning the NFL game. So I don't know. We don't really know what we have with this wide receiving core, but to play it safe, I think we do need to get another wide receiver. I think we need to maybe get another veteran. No more young guys because we already have a lot of young guys. So maybe another veteran. Did Marvin Jones sign an extension with the Jaguars, or like is he still under contract with the Jaguars?
I'm not sure. I don't know what. I think he signed more than a 1 year deal, but I'm not.
Yeah, I think he. That's why I asked. I think he may be still on contract here.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah, he is. He signed a. Yeah, he signed. He'll be a free agent next year. Never mind. I was gonna say that like those are the kind of guys that we could be looking at. Honestly, the big splash that I wish we would do, but again, we invested a lot in the wide receiver position already, and we're going to have to invest a lot in the wide receiver position with Terry coming up. That I don't think we will do this, but man, could you imagine Terry and Michael Gallup on the same team? That would be really, really good, really, really fun to watch. Allen Robinson is a name that we've been chasing, that I've personally been chasing for 2 years. But why would he want to leave Chicago with not having a quarterback and come to Washington and not have a quarterback?
Unless they do get a guy before free agency.
Yeah, unless we trade for a guy before free agency, that can determine Allen Robinson's fate here in Washington. In a perfect world, we trade for Deshaun Watson and sign Devontae Adams in free agency, but apparently he wants $30 million a year, which is insane. So
who, Devontae?
Yeah, he wants $30 million a year, so that's pretty insane. But yeah, those are my four right there, man.
Yeah, and I think I would go QB first, definitely, and then after that I would go middle linebacker. I think outside linebacker I'm fine with. Like Jamin Davis, Ron's already kind of given up on him as a middle linebacker, not as an outside guy, but as a middle linebacker. And then Landon Collins is the outside linebacker. Same thing with Cole Holcomb. So I think middle linebacker is a very big need on this defense because right now David Mayo would be our starter. And so I would go after middle linebacker in free agency. Then I don't know. I would say either receiver or free safety, very close for me. Just add another offensive weapon because I like, if everything works out this year, and what's up, Vance? Appreciate you coming through. If everything works out well, then our receiving core should be fine. Like if Curtis does what he did his last year in Carolina, if Terry stays healthy, and Diami even does okay, our receiving core is going to be average to above average. But you cannot rely on that. Like I think Curtis Samuel if he's healthy, it'll be fine. But again, can't rely on that. And Diami, we can't put much stock. We can't rely on him to go and ball out. Whatever he does this year, it's an added bonus. I think obviously he's going to make the team, but we can't bank on him. We can't be like, okay, Diami, when we're going through oh, do we need a free agent receiver? Diami's going to get 650 yards. We don't need one. You know what I mean? Because we don't know that. We don't know that. I mean, this guy was playing special teams in the middle of the year. So, I mean, he's a third-round pick. So we'll see what happens there. But I would add a guy. A guy I like is Cedric Wilson from the Dallas Cowboys. He's a sleeper where I think with a team, and a team where he would get more opportunities like here, I think he could, really shine. I mean, he's playing behind Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper, and he had 500 yards this year. He had a decent amount of rushing yards. He can pass too. I think he's 5 for 5 on his career, over 100 yards. So I would like him. There's a couple others, but Cedric Wilson's a nice cheap option. You can go higher price like Allen Robinson, DJ Chark, Christian Kirk. There's options out there. There's definitely options, but I do think, like Juan said, it's a need. And one thing is, I mean, they might. John Kine's been hinting at it. He thinks they will get their starting quarterback for 2022 will be on the roster before the draft. So I think they're going to try to get their guy before free agency. So then if they try to get a receiver, they try to get another guy, they know what quarterback is throwing to them. Because, if you're Allen Robinson, do you really want to go to Washington when, the starting quarterback is Heineke? No offense to Heineke. He's a good backup, but I don't want him as my QB if I'm a free agent receiver, especially Allen Robinson, who's had bad quarterback play his whole career. He wants to go to a team he'll take a discount, I think, to go to a team with an elite quarterback. So very important for Washington to try to get a good quarterback. Go ahead.
No, my bad. I was about to ask. So wait, was John Kine specific in who he thinks Washington is gonna get before the draft?
Well, he thinks they're gonna go really hard for the big names. Deshaun Watson, Rodgers, Wilson, and then even Carr. But he thinks obviously it's a long shot to get those guys. But he thinks Ron Rivera's gonna do his due diligence, do what he can to try to get those guys. But maybe at the end of the day, only one of those four is available. Maybe one of those guys changes teams this offseason. I think Watson will change teams. Russell Wilson, I think it's a 40-60 that he moves teams. Aaron Rodgers, kind of the same, 40-60, 50-50. And then Derek Carr, I think a little bit less. But, I think they're going to try to do what they can. But then the next guy I heard that he keeps mentioning him, not that John Kine wants him, but he keeps mentioning him, and it's Jimmy G. And I do not want to trade for Jimmy G. When I hear the whatever it would cost to get him a second, I would never do that. And it's not going to happen. If he was a free agent, I would be okay signing him to a 1-year deal and drafting a rookie. Not my preferred option, but I would be okay with it. Signing Jimmy G and drafting a rookie. But that's not going to be the case. You're going to have to trade for him, and apparently it's going to be a second plus or a third and a fourth or 2/3, and you're going to have to pay the guy because he's on a 1-year contract. That is a recipe for disaster, absolute disaster. Let's say you trade for Jimmy G. I don't want another Alex Smith on our hands where we trade for a guy, extend him immediately, give him elite quarterback money like we did with Alex Smith. Not necessarily elite, but Alex Smith, when we got him, when we extended him, he was one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. And then, of course, he falls off. Alex Smith was because of an injury, but still, nonetheless, I don't want Jimmy G. I don't want to trade for him. I think we can win with him, maybe 9 games, 10 games. We can get to the playoffs, maybe win a game. But he's a quarterback that can play well in this postseason, but you need to have a really good team around him for him to have success. And we have we have a solid roster, but not good enough to win with Jimmy G. And one thing I'll say before I get your reaction on Jimmy G, I talked about Jameis Winston as a possibility. earlier in the season or offseason, people were killing me for. I was never saying I want Jameis Winston to be our guy, to be our quarterback of the future. I was more saying, like, I would not mind if we signed Jameis Winston and drafted rookie. I mean, I think that's the best of, two worlds. You sign Jameis Winston, who last year in 6.5 games threw 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The Saints were 5-2 with him as their starter. And I mean, he was playing solid football with really nothing on offense besides Alvin Kamara. And you can sign Jameis Winston for very cheap, maybe a 1-year deal, and draft the rookie. I think that would be good because either way, if you sign Jimmy G, you sign Jameis Winston, you have to draft a rookie in the first couple rounds, or else, I mean, there's really no point. Unless you don't like any of the rookies, you kind of have to. So Jameis Winston's an okay option for me. Obviously, I think everyone agrees. Got to go all in, try to get one of these top guys. But if you can't, I'd rather have Jameis Winston than Jimmy G because I think they're similar level quarterbacks. But Winston has more of a ceiling and much cheaper in contract price, and also in terms of you don't have to give anything up for him. And I'm like, I heard people talking about Jimmy G is going to be 30+ million a year. I'm not touching that. Let me read this real quick. T-Ho will appreciate the $5 donation. I hope he can get Cedric Wilson and Leighton Vander Esch. They're both free agents. If we have enough cap money and getting a QB, hopefully Russell Wilson. Yes, I like Cedric Wilson a lot. I think he's a really solid option. As a kind of gadget guy, your third or fourth option on your receiving core. And Leighton Vander Esch is going to be a little expensive, but I think he can be a solid option. I think we all want Russell Wilson as well. Appreciate the donation, T-Ho.
Yeah. So me personally, and I know maybe a lot of people don't agree with me or not. If we're going the bridge route with a young guy, I'm starting Taylor Heineke. I'm fine with that. Like I really am. I think he can be a bridge quarterback. Um, why bring in Jameis Winston, Jimmy G, anybody to be a bridge quarterback when you have two guys that's capable of playing in this league? They have starter experience. They have shown abilities to win some games, and they know your playbook like a lot. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have to make room. Probably get rid of Kyle Allen if you're gonna bring in a rookie and Jameis Winston, or just for example, that's who you want, Pedro. Me personally, I think I would be fine if Taylor Heineke's our bridge quarterback. That's what I'm saying. Like, I would be fine with it.
I just think Winston's a lot better than Heineke. I mean, he's obviously has better arm strength. I mean, it's just stats. Like, it's not like, it's not necessarily the eye test because I haven't watched Jameis Winston film. But, I mean, the numbers are just crazy different. Heineke, 20 touchdowns, 15 interceptions in 17 games. Winston, I think it was 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in 6.5 games with, in my opinion, a worse offense around him because he had Kamara. Michael Thomas is out. His other top two receivers were out. Offensive line was out. And he was 5-2. When he went out, the rest of the season, they weren't great. So it wouldn't be the end of the world if Heineke's your bridge guy. But I think I rather have Winston, in my opinion, than Heineke just because the arm talent is there with Winston. I do think he's learned a lot. He sat behind Drew Brees for a full year, and then he also was with Sean Payton for a couple of years. So I'd rather have him. And you can still do, Jameis Winston, Heineke, and a rookie. I mean, that still can work. You can still have Heineke on the roster. Yeah.
I honestly forgot about Michael Thomas. I'm not gonna lie. I literally forgot about him. But I mean, I guess I just think I would much rather have two guys that know this system that can run the system to a T like Heineke and like Cal can than have you have a stronger arm in Jameis Winston. I think their decision making may be on the same level. Taylor Heineke may be a little bit more smarter and a little more less. And that's hard to say because he's just a throw it up and just epic kind of guy too, but he may be a little more less than that than Jameis Winston. So yeah, I mean it's I guess it's fine, but I just think Taylor Heineke and Kyle Allen would be better like as suiting this whole situation. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Okay, yeah, let's see. So let's move on to, I mean, we kind of covered free agency. I mean, some guys we like, the positions of need. We're gonna do this kind of every week until the until free agency comes up, until there's more rumors. But I think Washington will try to get their guys re-signed first. Then we'll see. Depends on what happens at quarterback. I think they'll start to, middle linebacker. I think regardless of the quarterback position, they'll get a middle linebacker. But if they get a quarterback, I think they'll get a middle linebacker and maybe another veteran receiver to pair up with the quarterback. Another position I think that we should address is interior offensive line. Not early. If we want to do in the draft, it's I'm fine with it, but not early. But kind of that third, fourth, fifth round range. Like I think that's the sweet spot. I don't think we have a fifth round pick this year, but in that range, I think that's a good spot to get a guard that you can sit behind Schweitzer, or if he's ready, he can start right away, or you can sign a guy in free agency to replace Sheriff. I like Schweitzer a lot, but you can always upgrade there. And I'm fine with Schweitzer starting this year, and you can sit that guy behind him and have him ball out. And I think you can do the same at a lot of positions. Edge rusher, you get another position, or get another guy there, whether it be in free agency or the draft. I think honestly, Kyle was talking about this as well. He was saying like Washington really was lacking that veteran edge rusher this year that could help Chase Young and Montez Sweat. And I agree, not necessarily saying Kerrigan was that guy. He could have been. He wasn't great this year, but in terms of leadership, we need a guy like that. So I think they should sign a veteran edge rusher, not a guy that's going to, need to play 20 snaps a game, but the guy that can come in there, provide a spark if needed. And if one of those guys are down, they can come in and ball out and, help lead these guys as well, because they need a veteran leader in that on that edge group, because obviously it's a different position than interior offensive line. So I think that's another position need. And yeah, if we don't re-sign Tyler Larson's backup center is a need, and you can always, like, those guys, you can draft a guy. A lot of these guys in the draft can play guard or center, like Schweitzer can, and some of these other guys. So Larson, I believe, can as well. So real quick, we'll go to the draft. We'll answer some questions, and then we're going to do our picks for the week. Only 2 picks, but we're going to do them anyways. Oh, and I want to get your reaction on, it's not anything big, but the Chris Harris is interviewing for the defensive coordinator job with the Colts. Quick reaction on that one.
Yeah, Chris Harris it was suck to see him go, but I'm glad he's finally getting his shot. If he lands this job, and he interviews well, I think he is going to be a future head coach in the next decade, maybe. He has the energy, the passion. Cam Curl and all the guys speak highly of him. And it would just suck to see him go. He reminds me of Robert Saleh in a way with his energy. But again, I'm proud of him that he's finally getting his opportunity. If he lands his job, I would love to see him stay here. But obviously, as you know, it's a part of life to grow and go to better opportunities. So shout out to Chris Harris, man. And if he does leave, hopefully we can find someone just like him, that could, I guess be with our DBs that way. I mean, like, the guy's passion is off the radar. You guys hear his mics up and stuff at training camp, and you hear him talk. You see how much he loves this game. So it's gonna be frustrating to see him go, but again, it's for the better for the man. So shout out to Chris Harris.
Yeah, and one thing that I mean, because you do get 2 compensatory picks if your coordinator, or if one of your coaches become a head coach. So obviously we wouldn't get picks for that. But if Chris Harris, like, let's say somehow Del Rio gets fired next year and Harris becomes our head, or our coordinator, and eventually he becomes a head coach, we get 2 third-round picks. But that won't happen here because he's becoming a coordinator, or he might become. I think he was interviewed last year as well. So this is just another year where he's getting another, opportunity. So that's good for him. That shows that teams really like him. They really respect him as a coach. So I'm fine with our coaching staff at this point, but I do get rid of Sam Mills, please. I don't think they're gonna do it, but please get rid of him. I can't. Yeah, just I don't want Sam Mills as our D line coach. Bring in someone else, because I mean, I think a lot of people would be lining up. D-line coaches would be lining up to coach these, Ferraris out there. Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and Sam Mills has not really developed them properly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we say the same thing all the time with Sam Mills. He's showing them Ryan Kerrigan film. Ryan Kerrigan never will be what Chase Young and Montez Sweat can be. They don't have the same,
And he has one move.
ceiling.
Kerrigan has one move.
I mean, you can say Chase has one move right now if you
Yeah.
want to say that because I mean, hey, but why is that? Because he's watching Kerrigan film. You need to show Tez Justin Peppers, or I said Justin Peppers, Julius Peppers. That was literally his comp coming into this NFL. They're literally like the same player build. You need to show Chase, Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, all these elite pass rushers that have multiple moves that gets to the quarterback. I mean, T.J. Watt missed 3 games this year, and he tied Michael Strahan for the sack record. Show these guys them, or show them these guys instead of showing Kerrigan. And I think Chase a little bit plays a part in that. I think he did get humbled this year. Unfortunately, I didn't want to see him get hurt because that's my guy. But I do think that the injury may have humbled him a little bit because coming off of the Rookie of the Year campaign, he started to get a lot of recognition. Not Rookie of the Year, but commercials with the Adidas and stuff like that, sponsorships and stuff, doing a lot of off the field things that took away from his time on the field. I'm never questioning Chase Young's work ethic or not or anything. But I think the injury may have humbled him a little bit because I mean it was a lot of hype surrounding these guys. Man, they had a lot of pressure on them this year or this past year. It was talks in training camp. Shout out to the Burgundy Zone for posting it on their Instagram like months ago. I just now saw it, but they were acting like training camp about breaking the sack record, the duo sack record, and stuff like that. So a lot of people expected a lot of things for these guys, and obviously it didn't come to fruition. And I think, but mainly these guys got humbled by it. I really do. I think they are now going to come back with level heads, and I think Chase Young may be way better off with torn ACL.
Yeah, let's hope. I mean, you look at Nick Bosa. He had that torn ACL early last year, and this year is he's an animal. 16 sacks, 15 and a half sacks this year. I mean, he's what we want Chase Young to be. And let's hope he can do it, both from Ohio State, both number 2 overall picks. So I think, but yeah, back to back drafts, I believe. So let's hope he can ball out for us next year, comeback player of the year possibly. And yeah, I agree, Brian. Burrow should be the comeback player of the year over Dak. That's my opinion. So let's go a quick, like a few minute draft conversation. Just some guys, any guys that stand out to you that you like, you've watched either their highlights or film or just reading about them. Any guys you like, could be quarterbacks, could be first round guys, whatever.
Just maybe 2 guys, maybe a couple more, but obviously Kenny Pickett is the guy that I really want. I don't think he's going to be there at 11, but I really hope we can find a way to land him. I'm now more open to the possibility of getting Kyle Hamilton. The guy's really, really good. I did watch some of his, some of his film and highlights and stuff. The guy's really, really good. I am a little open to getting him. Just it depends. Only way I will be satisfied with getting him is if we get a quarterback in the second round. But again, same with Kenny Pickett. It's a lot of talks about him not being there. It's talks about him possibly like being the best player in this draft and getting drafted top 5 and stuff like that. So I don't even think he's gonna be there. But yeah, man. Let's see. Anyone else? The guy from Jordan Battle from Alabama. It seems like every time I watch him play, he's always getting ejected. But he's really, really good. I really like Jordan Battle. He would be a safety that I would want us to go out there and get. And the guy from Michigan, I forgot his name though. I forgot. I can't think of his name.
Oh, I know you're talking about.
Yeah. The guy from Michigan, I like him too. I would like to have him here. And those are just a couple of guys. And as we get closer to draft, and as much as more, and we get closer to that, and the more I watch film on these guys, I will, obviously have more answers and more players that I like. But right now, it's just a couple.
Yeah, is it Dax Hill? Is that the guy?
I think Daxton Hill, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Let me read this here. Tiho appreciate the donation again. The $10 donation says, I hope Chris Harris won't leave us, and if he leaves us, it's going to be very tough to find. Sorry, to find another DB coach. I hope he can sign another D line coach other than Sam Mills, but Ron is too blinded by loyalty. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that last part. I mean, what has Sam Mills shown us? I mean, you can say Jonathan Allen developing into a better player, but I mean, you can also say that Jim Tom Sula gave Allen those tools, and he's really been utilizing them the last couple of years. Because I mean, Jonathan Allen had good years before. Obviously, this is his best year by far, but I mean, I'm not going to give Mills that credit. And yeah, Chris Harris, let's hope we can keep him because he definitely is a good coach. He brings that energy that we absolutely love. So appreciate that donation. So let's see. What was I going to say? Okay, yeah. So some guys I like. Kenny Pickett, I agree with you right now. He's my number one quarterback. I've watched a few games of his, full games of his on film. I like him. He's super. He's like, you look at the stats and you're like, man, he doesn't seem like a mobile quarterback, but if you watch him, extremely mobile. Like he is very, very quick, like quicker than Justin Herbert, and he's pretty mobile. And I think they could use him a lot like that. He's got good accuracy, got good anticipation, and I think the only thing is his deep balls are a little bit underthrown sometimes. But besides that, really like him. I mean, he doesn't have a huge ceiling, but I still think he can be, and if we develop him correctly, a top 15 quarterback in this league, maybe even higher than that. But we just have to unlock that potential. We have to unlock that potential. Every player has it, but you got to get it, even higher. I mean, no one was saying Brady could be a top 20 quarterback in the league when he came out, and he ends up being the best quarterback of all time. So you just have to be able to develop your players, and I think Kenny Pickett can be a franchise quarterback for you. But I agree, he might not be there. I like what's his name, Garrett Wilson. I think he's my number one receiver. I mean, Jameson Williams is my number one, but he has the ACL, so like his value is gonna go down if he's gonna be forced to miss a few weeks. I never like that. I never like players like to draft players that are going to be out early on just because it messes up, I don't know. I just getting injured players for a discounted price. I don't really. I've just gotten scarred by by like when we drafted Bryce Love in the fourth, and he never played a
Yeah,
snap for us.
I mean, not my bad for cutting you off, but it's like I was just thinking about that too, man. It's like Jameson Williams don't tear his ACL. He's obviously getting drafted.
He's a top 10
Probably
pick.
top 10. So I honestly like if they were to draft, let's say like quarterback in the first round or Hal Hamilton if he fell to us or something like that, and then they took a chance on him in the second round or something like that. I would not be mad at it because again, the upside is there. I think the difference with him and Bryce Love, yeah, Bryce Love was good coming out of Stanford, but he wasn't like on. I mean, guess you would say
he
that
was a Heisman finalist though.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say because he did, but then he like break Christian McCaffrey's like record or whatnot at Stanford. So I mean, I guess, but it's just like I don't know. It was this. I think his knee injury was just super like bad. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would for sure draft Jameson Williams in the second. And even if we trade back in the first, I would do it, just not at 11 or anywhere in the top 20 at this point. Unless you can tell me if he's going to be ready for the regular season, then I'm good with that. But because even if he misses like 4 or 6 games at that point, I just view it as like a red shirt year because it's never going to end. In terms of like when is he going to come back? I don't want to deal with that. So if he says he's good to go, I would not mind drafting him in the top 15 area. But if he's not, then I don't really want to draft him in the first round. I like Garrett Wilson a lot. He's a good route runner, great yards after catch ability. He's got good hands. He's a great blocker. I think he's a total package. Another Ohio State receiver. I would definitely go ahead and draft him. Chris Olave is a good option. I would not draft Chris Olave at 11 though. I don't really like drafting receivers in the first round unless you think they can be elite receivers because so many good receivers drafted in second, third, fourth round, fifth round all the time. I mean, you look at the class in 2019, I believe. the receivers drafted in the first round, Hollywood Brown and N'Keal Harry, I think. And then the guys after that, let's go ahead and down the list. Debo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, Terry McLaurin, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. Like, I mean, and that's not going to be every draft, but a lot of these drafts have great second, third round receivers. So, I like Garrett Wilson, so I would consider drafting him at 11. And if we trade back, I would also not mind, drafting a guy in the first, and then, trading back, drafting a guy in the first, and getting some assets for future years. And yeah, let's see. Rashad says, I think we can pull off Kenny Pickett if Panthers / the Texans don't sign or draft him. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the Texans, I think they want to see what Mills can do because Mills has been balling for them the second half of the year. And DK Metcalf, Rashad, was actually the last pick in the second round. And Davis Mills was my guy. I really he was my favorite quarterback that was not going to be the first round. And I would not have minded if Washington took him in the second because I really like his potential. I didn't think he was going to be this good early on because I didn't think he's going to be ready to play right away. But, I mean, he's a guy – you just have to be able to develop these guys because, there's a lot of these guys with good potential. You just got to identify the right guy and then develop him properly. I mean, not every class is going to have one of these Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott where you draft them to pass the second round. You're Derek Carr even who was in the second round. But you got to be able to identify those guys and, develop them. So let's go into our picks for the week one. Only two games. I believe we're tied, right, for the playoffs because week one, I went 6-0. You went 5-1. Actually, wait. Did we go last week? You went 3-1.
So the week one or the wild card, I did pick the Cardinals, so that's 5-1. And then last week it was Packers. I picked the 49ers. I picked the Packers. Yeah,
you picked the Packers.
So the Packers lost.
Actually, I think we were 2-2, both 2-2.
Yeah, I picked the Packers and Bengals. So the Packers lost, Bengals won, Bills won or lost. Sorry, I picked the Chiefs. Yeah, I think we're 2-2.
Yeah, so I think I'm up 1 because of the first week. So it's close. It is close. So this week, obviously, everyone knows the matchups because it's only 2 games. 49ers, Rams, and the Chiefs, Bengals. So I'm excited for these games. I think the 49ers game for sure is going to be good. I think the other game also is good and has potential to be the best game of the two. But obviously, it's the Chiefs, so there's always blowout potential. But I don't think there will be. So first game, it's Chiefs Bengals. I'm picking the Chiefs. I think they will win this game at Arrowhead. I think Mahomes. They've been on a roll. I think they're going to win this game.
Yeah, same. I really want the Bengals to win. I'm going to be rooting for the Bengals heavy to win this game. But I'm going to Chiefs. I'm going Chiefs. The Bengals beat the Chiefs first time at was it in Cincinnati? I think it was in Cincinnati. They won the first matchup in the regular season. I don't see no way Patrick Mahomes loses again to the Bengals, but I really hope it happens because I want the Bengals to win bad, man. That would be so fun to see. Joe Burrow coming off with 20 ACL, making it to the Super Bowl, and Jamar Chase first year makes it to the Super Bowl. But yeah, I'm picking the Chiefs, man. Just Patrick Mahomes is so good. Like 13 seconds left, and he just finds a way to get his team into field goal range. That is what elite quarterback play look like, man. And I just felt so bad for Josh Allen because I really you could just feel for the man. He did everything he could, you know what I'm saying? And again, even though they lost, that is what elite quarterback play looks like, and that's what we need here in Washington. But I'm getting Chiefs. I'm going Chiefs, even though this is going to be another battle of elite offenses heading, an elite quarterback play. I think the Chiefs are going to edge this one out. The only way I think the Bengals possibly could win is if it just comes down to crunch time. Are they going to be able to keep up with the Chiefs on offense? More likely than not. But whose defense is going to step up more? I do kind of trust the Bengals defense a little more, but for some reason, I just think Mahomes is going to get the ball last, and similar to what he did to Josh Allen last week, he's going to do the same to Burrow. So give me the Chiefs.
All right, who you got in the other game?
Rams. I know 49ers own the Rams. I get that. But, man, I got the Rams. I just think it's Sean McVay. They have this experience in these kind of games. And I just feel like, again, a streak has to end at some point, right? I said that last time they played and I picked them, the winner they lost. But it has to end at some point. So give me the Rams and Rams Chiefs.
I'm like so torn right now. I think I'm gonna go Rams right now, but like I'm not fully sure, so I'm gonna post that whatever. But if nothing changes, it's the Rams. I mean, it's at home. I mean, not really though, because there are not many Rams fans. Like the Rams 49ers game, the last week of the season, it was packed with 49ers fans. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think better quarterback by far is Matthew Stafford, but the 49ers have a really good roster. I mean, the Rams do too, though. That's the thing. I mean, Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, Jalen Ramsey. I mean, they've got Eric Wed. I'm just kidding. They got a unit out there, and then offense, Stafford, Cam Akers, who didn't have a great week last week, but still, Sony Michelle, Darrell Henderson, they also have what's his name, Cooper Kupp, Odell, Tyler Higbee. So I'm gonna go with the Rams, but who knows? We'll see. I think it's that one. I feel like it's gonna be close. I think the Rams are the better team, but Kyle Shanahan does own McVay, so it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough game, and make sure, guys. Link is in the description. Make sure you guys go ahead, subscribe to Juan Gotti. Been posting a bunch of killer content there, like usual. Doing some NFL, just in general, like some NFL content as well. So make sure you guys go ahead and check him out. Check out his socials as well, and go ahead and follow my Twitter as well. So we're gonna start to wrap it up. Any last questions you guys have, go ahead and put it in the chat below. I mean, pal, I just think Matthew. I know the record, like Juan said, the record is 6-0, but we both got the Rams winning. I mean, Matthew Stafford by far is the better quarterback, and I think eventually Jimmy G is going to haunt the 49ers. He's going to cost them the game. I think he will. We'll see, though. We'll see.
He tried to do it last week.
I mean, Debo's been insane. I mean, George Kittle. I mean, their just whole team is just amazing. They just don't have the quarterback, and that's another thing. I mean, if you're the 49ers, right, and you make the Super Bowl this year, I mean, do you really have a reason to trade Jimmy G if you feel like Trey Lance isn't ready? Like, he might not even be available because they might be like, okay, Trey Lance isn't ready. Let's keep Jimmy G for another year, or let's keep him until the trade deadline and then trade him. I don't know. I think we'll see if he's available. It's just crazy I mean, he's just a winner.
Yep. I honestly wait. I know Debo's more likely not than playing, but he's obviously banged up though, right?
And Trent's questionable as well. I mean, we'll see if he plays.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna stick with Rams. I am. I just feel like they're gonna win. I feel it in my gut to go Rams, and Rams Chiefs is the Super Bowl.
That would be a nice Super Bowl. That would be a nice Super Bowl. And then we'll answer this question. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. So Tio asked, which receiver would you want Washington to sign? I would say I like Cedric Wilson as a low key option, and then someone like Christian Kirk as a little bit of a more high tier. It's not going to be as much as like Allen Robinson or one of those top guys, Devontae or Chris Godwin. But I like I like someone like Christian Kirk. Let's see. One Life Music says, I have a feeling the roundtable talk on basically, yeah, it's going to be crazy the day. I mean, social media is not going to be a pretty place the day after the name change for Washington. And hey, if you guys want to, talk it out, go ahead and check out Juan's stream the next day. When is it? What, you got a time yet?
Yeah, 7 p.m.
7 p.m. February 3rd, Thursday of next week. Make sure you guys are there. So that's going to do it for today's stream. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Appreciate Juan for coming on.
Thanks for having
And
me.
yeah, enjoy the football this Sunday. And
Yep.
yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Appreciate you for having me, man. Peace.
Peace. And appreciate everyone for coming through.